Thank you for joining with us today. We are going to be talking about different funding options for your for-profit or your nonprofit. In the chat, I'm going to put the link to, let me get that right, funding.ryanO'neillKnight.com. This will take you to the spreadsheet that we are going to be working from today. So let me just share my screen. So this is a look at the spreadsheet that we're going to be doing a lot of the work in, because really today is about making sure you know where to find the money. So I'm going to share with you the process that I go through. But again, if you are here to learn about funding and grant opportunities, you are in the right space. Just before we get started, one thing, if you can change your name to your actual name, just in case it has like Zoom user or iPhone user or Android user. No pressure to turn on your camera, but if you are asking a question, typically we do ask like just turn on your camera, but it's not mandatory. If you do have questions, feel free to raise your hand, but you can use the chat just as I'm going through the initial presentation. Or if there is something that I'm talking about that you want clarity on, feel free to raise your hand. And as we're going through the presentation, just be sure to mute your mic, but I think we're all good with that. One thing we do also want to acknowledge the First People and traditional land. So I would like to begin by acknowledging the indigenous peoples of all the lands that we're on today. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we all call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships beyond nations and to improving our own understanding of local indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. Please join me in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the effect of residential schools and colonialism on Indigenous families and communities, and to consider how we are and can each, in our own way, try to move forward in the spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. So thank you for that. All right, and a bit of background on myself. So I'm your facilitator today. My name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network, but I do consider myself a serial social entrepreneur. So I run a company called Detailing Nights, also a consultancy firm called Service Kingdom, which helps people start social enterprises, and also Executives Power Up that helps businesses place teams and businesses to help them become more investable, and Black Panther's Cage. So think of Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, but with Black founders pitching to Black investors. And as I mentioned, I'm one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network and also part of the Empowered Forex business crew. And we're really just here trying to help businesses to increase their capacity and create an asset to grow generational wealth. And sorry, I think there is a slide missing. Oh, maybe not. All right, so to give you a bit of background on ACBN, we did start just over 6 years ago. And it really was because as an entrepreneur, we were looking to scale our company, and that was with the Detailing Nights and to franchise across Canada and into the US. But there weren't a lot of Black focused business organizations that we could go to get that support or that had the mandate to scale up companies. So we brought 6 other entrepreneurs together. That could we create an entity that sits down with a business owner, figures out what stage they're in, and then helps them create a strategy to grow their companies exponentially. And thus ACBN was born. And over the past 6 years, we have engaged with over 5,000 Black entrepreneurs. We're seeing a majority of them are female entrepreneurs, and about 91% of the people in our network are the business founders or the CEOs. And one thing that we're really proud of is being able to partner with now 40 plus other Black focused business organizations. So our reach is definitely extended past 20,000 across Canada. And it allows us to now, no matter what stage you're in or where you are across Canada, we can point you to the right direction to get that support that you need for your business. And to give you a bit of background on the pillars of ACBN, I would say, of course, entrepreneurship is the foundation, fostering that next generation of Black entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurship is a tool that I feel is one of the best tools that we have to build generational wealth. And also, research shows it's 12 times easier to pull a person out of poverty by showing them how to start a business rather than just getting them a job. So we talk a lot about starting a business, even if you're in a career, to have a business on the side or to be an entrepreneur within the business. So you have those entrepreneurship, I would say, characteristics that you can bring to your job. As we mentioned, is one of the best tools for economic empowerment. And the way that we share this empowerment and share notes is through convening. So whether we're virtual like today, or if we're in person at some of our events, we want to make sure that we're finding out information that can support you and then having these meetings to share those notes. And the notes that we're sharing today is really around that access to funding. So making sure that you know where the money is, because a lot of times money is just flowing all around us, and how to position ourselves in front of that flow of money is what we want to help you with today. And we typically show this slide just to give you an idea of the different types of funding that we've gotten in the past. And you can see it ranges from pitch competitions to provincial grants and city grants and even federal grants or donations and sponsorships from corporations. And also it ranges as low as $500 up to over $1 million. And one thing that I always say about myself is I don't consider myself an academic grant writer, but I do consider myself a grant hunter. So we try to find anything and everything that we qualify for and make sure to put in our application so that we don't miss the money just because we didn't put our application in. But beyond us being able to get funding, it's now helping others also get funding. So whether we're working with a nonprofit like Rescue Youth International that has been doing great work in the Peel area with youth in, the education system or the justice system, but not having time to be researching for grants or writing the grants, we were able to work with them so that they realized they qualified for the investment readiness program, and they were able to apply and get 30,000 to help them start their own social enterprise. A business like Custodia that is for profit, and again, not realizing that they're operating a social enterprise because they were doing work for seniors, help with landscaping so that people could live in their homes longer. We identified that they qualified for the investment readiness program and they were able to unlock $100,000. And then with another nonprofit like New Life, they are in Ottawa, and shout out to Brenda that's doing great work again, supporting women, teaching them how to sew, teaching them how to start a business, but not having the time to be researching and writing grants. We were able to work with them and they unlocked $21,000, their biggest grant, I think one of the first grants that they had gotten. And then beyond just showing you where the money is and helping you write it, we sometimes partner and get creative on grants. So like with the Seventh Adventist Church, they weren't able to apply directly for the grant through FedDev, but ACBN was able to apply as their trustee so that money could flow through us, and they were able to unlock 325,000. Or Youth Village, where ACBN was already writing a grant to the federal government, and we were able to include Youth Village in the grant because they were just getting started. So instead of them started from scratch, they were able to be part of our grant and unlocked almost $60,000 for their programming. All right, so two things that we typically support with as we're working with entrepreneurs is their business plan. So if you're looking for loans or different types of investments, we're able to help you get that business plan done and get it prepared for getting that type of funding. Also with our Grant Hunter University, we help with the grant writing blueprint. So a lot of times we see grants and we always starting from scratch. So we help you at least get the majority of those grant questions answered. And then that way you have your own blueprint. Because I remember with Detailing Nights, we would be writing grants each year. We were doing a youth entrepreneurship program, which was successful in like execution, but when we were going for grants, we were still getting declined. And if we realized that we needed help with the actual writing, so we brought in a grant writer, at least to review and touch up what we had written, and then partnered with a nonprofit so that our application was a lot stronger. And that's when we were successful. And then once we were successful with that, that became the blueprint, the template that we use for a lot of the grants that we had gotten afterwards. So we try to support you with getting the blueprint done. So then that blueprint becomes something that you can use for any grant that you find. And every time you find a grant, now you're not starting from scratch. You have a lot of the information prepared. So if you do find that you need help with just organizing your thoughts and getting it onto paper so that it makes it easier to write grants, then joining the Grant Hunter University would be a great next step. But for today, we want to talk about resources and tools to find the grants. So I'm gonna come out of here, and in the chat, I do want to make sure that you got the link that we're going to be working out of. So this link brings you to a spreadsheet that we use to find different grants and different loan programs so that we can keep them organized. And the three tools that I wanted to walk you through today, one is the Business Benefits Finder. The second one is Happily.ai. And the third one is Hello Pocketed. So with the Business Benefits Finder, and again, this spreadsheet, you're able to view it, and we try to keep it as up to date as possible. So the Business Benefits Finder, it was created by the federal government, government of Canada, and it's really a great tool because it allows you to really just answer fill in the blank questions. So let's say you're looking for grants and funding and loans. Let's see, wage subsidies. We say yes, and then we're looking for things up to 250,000. And the main goal for us is to grow. We want more working capital. We want to hire and train employees and develop the local economy. Yes, let's keep that. And we'll go to step 2. So now we're going to say we're in Southern Ontario. The business of, let's say, education or business supports. Yeah, business supports. And we do, yes, business support and administrative services. So we have 4 employees. Our revenues just over 500,000. We're incorporated. We're a nonprofit. And so here, if you're a for-profit, you would click for-profit. I'm not really, you should know either or. And then we're owned by Canadians, Black Canadians, and newcomers and under 40. And I typically put in that we want to see all the programs. If you just want to see which ones are accepting and open right now, but I usually want to see everything so I know even if it's closed, that it's probably going to come open again. So you want to keep track of that. So the first section that I would show you, you can click more, is what types of grants are out there. So this one's talking about local food infrastructure. This one's if you want to hire research talent, I think you get a subsidy for that. The reserve. This one is if you're developing community economic development projects. So I think these two are for nonprofits. Let's see what else is there. The job grant is pretty good if you're looking to hire somebody, but you need them to get trained so that they hit the ground running when they come into your company. The Canada Ontario job grant is really good because you can put people through up to $10,000 worth of training per employee and then bring them on as a hiree. Or people that you already have in your business, you can send them to training, get that covered with a grant, and be able to then upskill them so that they're more effective at work. Let's see. My Main Street was a good one. I believe that one's closed right now, though. Yeah, so that one did close. All right. Let's see what else is here. Enabling accessibility. That one's closed as well, but I think that one's going to come back. And CanExport. This one is rolling, so I would definitely keep an eye on if you want to do business outside of Canada. You're able to get grants to do trade shows or marketing research, or just to do the market research in a new country, the US or where have you. you would get a grant to get that done so that you can then do business in those countries. So this one typically opens every like once or twice a year. So if you're interested in that, I would keep an eye on it. And this community investment one, so if you want to attract foreign investment, I had never seen this one before. So this one might be interesting to check out. Looks like it's going to open November 4th. So you want to keep an eye on that one. And this one, did it say when it's opening? No, it didn't say when it's opening. But this community investment one would be pretty interesting. Again, it does show loan programs as well, and also wage subsidies. So I would go through, follow along, answer the questions, see what it pulls out for you, and then you'd be able to start to investigate. The other one that we wanted to show today was Happily.ai. So Happily is, I would say, a broader extension of what you would see with the Business Benefits Finder. So Happily isn't restricted to just federal programs or government type grants. They look at all different funding options. So let me see if my account is still saved. You can hop in. So the last time that we came in, we saw, and we were doing it live, just walking through, that the TELUS grant was open. So we were able to then go after the TELUS grant and write that. It just closed September the 4th, but it was good that we came in here because I hadn't seen any advertisements or any newsletters that usually is sent out about the grant, but Happily was able to show it to us. So you always want to, I'll say, if you're on your research day, these three platforms that we're going through, so the Business Benefits Finder, Happily, and Hello Pocketed, you want to just come in and check to see if anything is available, active, things that might be closed, they might be open now. So what are we talking about here? Strategic Innovation Fund. One thing I do like about Happily as well is it gives you an idea of how difficult the grant is. Typically, the federal grants are more intense and take time. But let's see if there's anything else of interest. The Business Development Bank. What else is here? MyTax, that's more a grant to hire. Techstars. So it does show different, like it'll show grants, loans, tax credits, incubators and accelerators, competitions, different training programs, and hiring. And also, I'll put this link into the chat in case you wanted to just check it out directly, but it is in the spreadsheet. All right. So the third one that we did want to check through is Hello Pocketed. Don't think this one I have it saved. Let me just check. Oh, it does look like it's saved. That's good. And similar to Happily, where they have a dashboard that shows you all the different funding, and this TELUS one at the time, we were able to save it, and then we started spreading the word and telling people to apply. So it looks like Happily had, oh no, Hello Pocketed. They want to know, how can they help? Let's see. How can Pocketed help me? Okay, help to find funding. Let's see. Am I not already subscribed? Which, let's see, can I purchase grant writing? Okay, so you can do that. I want find me funding. Yeah, let's take a look. Oh, is your profile up to date? Let's see. No, it's not. I need to update this. Let's see if this is easy to do. Okay, update details. So you want to make sure that these things are accurate. How do I? Oh, here we go. I understand. So we want to put this in for the main company. Oops. And then company website, which country, phone number, it's incorporated, company size, annual revenues over 100. How much money do you spend per month? Okay. Date of incorporation. This is August 2020. Okay, black. To have automotive, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, we do education as well. So it's for-profit, company description. Hold on, let's see if I can grab this quick. That's why I always encourage you to have some sort of note-taking tool, because this way, anytime these things ask you questions, oops, you can just hop into, I use Google Keep, I like that one. So anytime people ask me for my description of my company, I can just pull it in, even though I know it in my head. It's just, if it's written somewhere, it's a lot easier to grab, copy, and paste. Okay, so we updated the profile. Let's see. Oh, what is it showing us? Eastern Ontario. This one's actually for nonprofits, so this shouldn't be showing me this. Although these are just overall grants due in the next 10 days. Okay, so let's see how this chatbot does for us now. Is it up to date? No. Bah, okay, let's see what they give us. But it should have pulled in the new information. So maybe I have to refresh. Actually, let's refresh. We might still have the old cache. If not, we should send them a note. Like, you need to update your stuff. Noticing 9 grants. Okay, market expansion. It's probably gonna show something about can exports. Yes, show me. There are no grants matching the name. Okay, probably because the can export grant is closed. Let's see, did I save any? Yeah, I didn't save any here. Because right now with the TELUS one closed, that's where it's unfortunate because there's not a lot of for-profit grants open right now. The Canada Digital Adoption Program looks like it's open till the end of this month. That one you can get $2,400 for a digital marketing support. This one is actually, I think, for nonprofits, like I was saying before. The Idea Fund, what is this? This closes at the end of this month as well, funded by the Innovation Factory. The Idea Fund, Inclusive Diversity Environment Acceleration, aims to drive sustainable and circular economy. This could be interesting. See, we got to save these things. And then what else is in here that we got to check out? Don't really see anything else of interest, but this one is interesting. So when you do hit apply now, so it does take you to the portal. So if this is of interest, I would definitely check this out. Let me put this into the chat for everyone. I'll do a bit more research and see what the actual restrictions are, but seems like something good to check out. All right. So now so this is where I would say you start. And if you have access to the spreadsheet, you're able to just every so often check these 3 portals. And it's a really good way to start. Even in here, if you did need help to do your grant writing, what did I say? Like your grant writing blueprint, you can check this out. And it just talks about the online course that we have that'll walk you through the whole process. So that way, any of these grants that you find, you're not starting from scratch. So it doesn't feel very heavy to get these things done. Right now, you want to look at what was available. So the TELUS grant was, if it's in this kind of light red, that means it usually comes back once or twice a year. For those that live in Brampton, they have the starter company grant that's up to $5,000. And each city has their own entrepreneurship, small business entrepreneurship center. So they each do the starter company grant at different times in the year. So if you're in Toronto, they would have the starter company grant at a different time as Mississauga and Brampton and even Durham. So whatever city you're in, make sure to connect with the business development office so that you can find out when their grants are coming out. You'll see the FedDev ones, and I believe the orange are things that are ongoing. So this one, we'll check to see if this one opened back up. I think this is for nonprofit organizations. Yeah, so this is for organizations. So if you're a nonprofit that supports businesses, you definitely want to check out that funding opportunity. Digital Main Street was a really good grant, and I did hear that they got renewed for 3 more years. So right now it's paused, but it should come back and you'll be able to either get help with your digital marketing, also get help with building your website to turn it into an e-commerce store. We talked slightly about CanExport, where if you're looking to do business outside of Canada, they will help you with grants to do the market research, go to trade shows, and get familiar with other countries. My Main Street, not sure if this one's coming back, but it was a $20,000 grant for those that have brick and mortar businesses. So again, keep an eye on this spreadsheet. Certain things are closed, but they might come back. I know American Express, they actually do this each year. So this should be light red because it should come back soon. And the Toronto Enterprise Fund, unfortunately, I haven't seen this one come back. But when we look at nonprofit grants, again, this spreadsheet, we have put in a lot of the grants that ACBN has been able to get in the past, whether it's Alterna Savings, FedDev, the Supporting Black Communities grant. I should actually write that out. All right. Desjardins should be coming back. So this one, again, if you're doing work with youth, you'd want to apply ASAP because Desjardins takes in applications at any time. So these ones like the Metcalf Opportunities Fund, these are things that you can apply to at any time. The Ontario Trillium Foundation, these ones they come live every so often. So you have to watch the website to see when they're going to be available and when they're due. Actually, if we go to grant application deadlines, you'd be able to see that the GROW grant, which is for nonprofits, that is due November 6th. So the information on it should come out soon because it's due pretty soon. The Youth Opportunities Fund, this one is going to open November 5th for the Systems Innovation Grant. So again, you want to just keep your eye on the Ontario Trillium Foundation, their website. With our spreadsheet, we try our best to update the new deadlines. Like we'll put them here, but like this one is old with the Youth Opportunities Fund. So actually we can put that in opens November 5th. So we'll keep an eye on that. All right. Again, the youth innovations. But beyond just the grants, you do also want to look at what other type of funding might be good for your situation. For the loan programs, a lot of times with businesses, grants they're on a weird timeline, so they might take 3 to 6 months to process. But if you need to do things for your business immediately, going after a loan or a line of credit might be a better option just so that you can use it to build up the business, and then that increased business will pay for the cost of the loan. So things like Alterna Savings, Access Community Capital Fund, Futurepreneur, Rise Asset Development, Community Forward, and ACBN, we all have microloans that you're able to access. But then for the bigger loans, so if you want to get, let's say, more than $10,000, you want to look at the FACE Coalition or the Black Opportunity Fund that has a really interesting line of credit program. The RBC, like, so the major banks each have their own Black focused entrepreneurship loans. So I know RBC, CIBC, Scotiabank, TD, Bank of Montreal, they all have their own programs. But also if you're looking for investment, we're working to update this spreadsheet so that all the contact information for different angel groups are here and also for different venture capital groups. But then for nonprofits, we want to keep our eye on different foundations because you want to be on the radar of foundations because they have big blocks of money that they typically are looking to support the community. And different foundations have different focuses. So you do want to read through their website just to see if you align with what they're doing. But something like the Laidlaw Foundation, where they support a lot of youth projects, you want to be actually, you can see if they have anything of interest open right now. And they work a lot with grassroots organizations. So you don't have to be a fully fledged, incorporated nonprofit with audited financials. You can be a group of 2 or 3 that come together to create a grassroots organization. And now, so these are typically the types of grants they have: a pop-up grant, a youth action fund, the indigenous strategy, they have impact investing, and they have a set of grantee tools. So something like the pop-up grants, what would this be? All right, so each year, annual micro grant offered to youth groups and grassroots organizations. So there's a theme to the grant each year. So they've done healing the land, racial justice, and youth mental health awareness. So this is where you want to check the spreadsheet to see what's available, but then you want to come to the website to see more about what they do. So right now they're not accepting, but keep an eye on it because they will be accepting soon or again in the future. So these are things you always want to just keep your eyes on. That's why the spreadsheet, we try our best to keep it as up to date as possible. And if you find out things that are available and they're not in the spreadsheet, please send us an email so that we can update the spreadsheet so that everybody's able to see what's available. All right, so I was gonna go back to presentation just to make sure I didn't forget anything. And then we will open it up for questions. So let me see. All right, so we did get to talk about the different grants for profits. I didn't touch on the summer, which one? The summer company grant. It's a really good one for those under 30. So if you know anybody in high school or post-secondary that is thinking of starting a business, make sure that they know about the summer company program because they can get up to $3,000 for their business to test it out in the summer. When we talk about social enterprise, we want to keep an eye on the social finance fund that is just unlocking a lot of investments into intermediaries that are going to create programs for social enterprise. So we're going to be keeping our eye on when those get announced that they're available that we can apply to, and we'll definitely share that with you. We talked about different loan programs that exist. Again, loans are typically a more direct path to funding that would help you with your for-profit. For nonprofit is usually not a viable option because typically a nonprofit doesn't have recurring revenue. But if you do have a social enterprise that is a business entity that generates revenue to support the nonprofit, you might want to look at bringing in a loan to help build up the social enterprise so that it can grow its sales faster. And of course, if a lot of this is overwhelming, our team is here to support. We do have the online course, the Grant Hunter University, that you can go through and just at your own pace learn about how to put together your own grant blueprint. But we can support with either full grant writing, or we can help with just reviewing what you've done. So a lot of times we just encourage you to come to these info sessions, ask questions, and then also book a time to meet with one of our advisors so that we can support you on this journey, because we don't want you to be stuck. A lot of times grants come out and people get started or they feel it's too much work. They get stuck and they don't put in their application. And we've seen a lot of times a person that might have been stuck, we work with them, at least we get the application in and they're successful. So they would have missed it if they stayed stuck and didn't reach out. So be sure, be sure to take down our website, but I'm gonna put into the chats our email that you can send any questions. So connect at empowered4x.com. if you do have questions or want to talk to somebody about your situation, your for-profit or nonprofit, and how we can help you with getting access to these grants so that you don't feel stuck, we are definitely here for you.